In today's video, I'm going to show you how I built a calorie tracker using Notion, n8n, and iPhone shortcuts. So if you have an iPhone, an n8n account, and a free Notion account, you are going to be able to build this. First of all, I have my iPhone here and I'm sharing my screen with my shortcut that I'm going to show you guys how to create in this video. And I'm just going to simply click this shortcut and then it's going to go out and use 3 different potential methods to find the calories, carbs, protein, and fat. And then it's going to log the date for that food item. And then if I go over to my n8n automation, I'm also going to show you guys how to build this automation right here, which has 3 different options for scanning my food. I can either go down the barcode route right here, and I can hit this HTTP request, which is using a very simple to use free API that you can then go out and actually use that barcode that you scan on your phone to find the information about that food and then log it to your Notion database. The next route is a photo route. So if you just want to take a picture of your food, ChatGPT is going to analyze that image for you and then it's going to log it into your Notion database that way after doing some web research. And finally, maybe you just want to write a description of what you're eating. If that's the case, you can just go down this description route right here. And that's where ChatGPT is going to use the internet to figure out how many calories are in whatever you ate that day and then log it to Notion. And this even has a failed route. So if the barcode is invalid, it's going to go to this failed and then it will ask you to restart your automation and go back to the beginning if that barcode wasn't valid. And then you can just use a different method. So let me show you how this works. I'm just going to click on my calorie demo. And the first thing that I'm going to show you guys is a failed barcode. So let's say I'm scanning something that's not food. I'd click on my calorie demo. I would select the scan option, and then I can scan this Pokemon box right here. And I'll just say I had 2 servings and hit done. And now it's just going to say this product is not supported for calorie data. Would you like to use a different method? So I'll say yes. And this time I'm going to hit scan and I'll scan a bottle of water this time. Perfect, that's scanned. Let's say I had 3 bottles of water. So I'll enter the servings here and I'll hit done. Next, this automation is going to kick off. And finally, what's going to happen on the other end is if I go over to my calorie demo here, you're going to see that it logs 3 servings of bottled water, and it includes the calories, carbs, protein, and fat. It also includes the exact date and time of this automation run. Yes, it's late at night. I've been up making this video for you guys. Also, it's going to show you a little done button right here that you can click on, and it's also going to tell you what it logged for you. So I'm just going to hit done, and now I'm going to show you guys the next way that you can log food items using this automation, and that is the photo route. So if I click on the calorie demo here and then I click photo, I can take a picture of this apple right here. I'm just going to take a picture. I'll hit use photo and I'm going to enter 5 apples. So let's say I ate 5 apples. Okay, let's hit done. And now just wait for a minute while ChatGPT analyzes that image and searches the internet to find information on that food product. And then once it's done with that, it's going to bring that into our Notion database. Boom. Now we have 5 servings of apple. It includes the calories, the carbs, protein, and fat, and it even includes the date for you. And right here, we get a nice little notification. 5 servings of apple totaling 475 calories has been logged. Okay, perfect. I can just hit done. And finally, I want to show you guys the last method for logging things into the Notion database. And that is clicking on the calorie demo, clicking on description, and then from here, I can actually enter some text to describe what I ate. So let's say I ate 1 cup of mashed potatoes. Okay, how do you spell potatoes? I'm not sure. Let's hit done. It doesn't matter. ChatGPT is actually going to figure out what I meant there, and it's going to log that for us. So ChatGPT is doing its work right now, and then boom, mashed potatoes. It even spelled it right for us, and it included the calories. And the most important part is it even logged it into our database right here. So as you can see, I have all of the dates and times for these different loggings, and I can total up my calories and my macros for the day as I please. You don't even need MyFitnessPal. Now, before we kick this off, go down to the link in the description and join our free community. Yes, it's free, and it's called AI Pioneers. And what I want you to do after you join and verify your email by sending me a code, I'm just going to send you a quick DM, pop that code into the chat there, and then it's going to let you into our community. Once you get into the community, go to the classroom right here. So I'll click on classroom, and then you're going to go to agent builds. From here, you're going to see Carter's Calorie Tracker. And here I give you guys some test barcodes that you can use so that you don't have to go rummaging through your pantry before making this video. We have a successful barcode. This is what's going to lead to the success route in the automation. And we have a failed barcode. And then I also give you guys all of the copy and paste code that you need for this automation so that you don't have to type all of this out manually. And if you like what you see, if you like my teaching style and you want to build anything with Notion, n8n, relational databases, or you just want to vibe code, meaning type out your program and have it be created by AI, then I recommend joining AI Foundations. Here we teach you all of that. It's the last community that you will ever need, and it is a premium community. It's $70 right now. The price is going up to $100 per month to be a part of this community once we reach 1,500 members. So I recommend joining now while you can lock in that $70 per month. And if you upgrade to the annual deal on AI Foundations, it's going to give you access to our Making Money with AI call, where my brother Drake and I share our decade of knowledge in business, and we help you guys out with making your first dollar in AI. We're also going to be giving a 30% discount on annual if you join using the Upgrade to AI Foundations link and you sign up for annual today. So if you sign up now for annual, you're looking at $5.99, and that's going to get you access for the entire year, guys. Now, this video that you're watching right now is free, and all of the resources that you need are right here in our free group, AI Pioneers. But if you wanted to upgrade, you're going to get access to AI Foundations. In AI Foundations, it's our goal to first teach you the foundations as a total beginner and then take you all the way up to a pro level AI master. And then beyond that, make some money with AI. Get in on this economic revolution. So if you like what you see in the free group inside of the classroom here on our walkthrough and the agent builds for today's calorie tracker, then I highly recommend upgrading to AI Foundations if any of that sounds interesting to you. And with that, let's get into creating the calorie tracker. First things first, we're going to head over to n8n and click Create Workflow. I'm just going to call this Calorie Demo. Then we'll click Add First Step, and we'll add in our first node. And this first node is going to be a webhook. So I'm going to type in webhook, and this is going to be what starts our automation and communicates with the iPhone. So we'll click webhook. I'm going to change the HTTP method to post. Then I'm going to rename this path to something that I will remember. You can keep it a longer path if you want this more secure, or you can add authentication. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to type in calorie-demo. And then for now, I'm just going to go back to Canvas. Next, we're going to navigate to the Shortcuts app on the iPhone. And from here, what you're going to do is click the plus button in the upper right-hand corner. And you can give your shortcut a name. I'm just going to call it Calorie Demo, and I'll hit done. And next we need to add in our options. And to do that, you're going to start typing into the actions here, choose, and you're going to click on choose from menu. And then from here, we can choose which types of scans that we want to do. So do we want to do a scan? Do we want to add a photo? Or do we want to just type in a description? So in this case, I'm just going to remove the options 1 and 2, and I'm going to add a prompt here. I'm just going to say, what type of scan do you want to do? And then I'll start adding in some items. So we're going to have 3 options. As I said, the scan, we're going to have photo, and we're just going to have a normal text description. And what that's going to do now is it's going to add in these different options down here. So we have scan, we have photo, and we have description. Now, what we're going to do for the scan option is we're going to add in the barcode scanner. So I'm just going to click add action and then scan, and we're going to click scan QR or barcode. And then from there, I'm just going to drag scan QR or barcode underneath scan. And then we also need to ask how many servings, because we want this to be really intuitive and smart when it comes to figuring out how many calories that we're actually tracking here. So to make this useful, I'm just going to type in ask for, and this ask for input is what we're using here. So I'll drag that ask for input underneath the scan QR or barcode. And then here where it says text, we're going to click and change that to number. And for the prompt, I'm just going to type in how many servings. All right, perfect. I'm going to hit done. And then finally, we're going to actually get the contents of the webhook. So I'm going to click search on the actions, and I'm just going to type in get content and we're going to get content of URL. And then I'm going to drag that up underneath the ask for number. And where this URL is where we're actually going to type in our n8n webhook. So in order to get that, we can just check our webhook in n8n just by clicking on it. And this is the webhook that it needs right here. So I'm just going to type that in. So we're going to type that exact URL into the get contents of right here, right where I have it. So it's https://afe.app.n8n.cloud/webhook-test/ and then whatever you named the webhook. So this is going to be different for everyone, but that is where you type it in. And then you click this little arrow right here and you change the method to post. And this is going to actually post this information once we've scanned that barcode, and it's going to send it over to n8n where the automation is going to be completed. Now, at this part of the automation, it's important that we add in what we want to send. So we want to send the type first of all, so that we can decide which automation we're actually going to send this to. So if the type is a scan, it's going to go to the scan route. If it's a photo, it'll go to the photo route, etc. And we also want to include the food. And in this case, the food variable is going to contain the barcode since we're working on the scan route first. And then we're also going to include servings so that we can send how many servings we want to multiply by later down the line. So I'm going to click the plus button next to add new field, and we're going to select text. And for the key, I'm going to add in the word type. For the text, I'm going to type in scan. Then we'll add in another new field of text. And this one is going to be food. And this is where we're actually going to start pulling in some variables. So where it says select variable at the bottom of my screen, we're just going to scroll over and we're going to click on this QR/barcode so that it actually inputs the barcode into the food here. Then finally, we're going to add another field for servings. And this one is going to be a number. So I'm just going to type in servings. And then down here where it shows the variables, I'm going to click on ask for input. And to make sure that this is the correct ask for input, I'm just going to make sure I select it, and then it's going to pop up reveal action. So if I click on reveal action here, I can scroll up and it will just keep the one that I have selected nice and highlighted for me so that I can see exactly which one it is. And in this case, this is perfect because we're mapping the ask for number with how many servings to the servings. So I'll just go ahead and click the X button right up here. And then for now, I'm just going to hit done. And the calorie demo isn't complete yet, but I do want to test this out really quick to make sure that it sends the data over. So in order to send this test data over, I'm going to go back over to n8n. I'll go back to Canvas, and this webhook should be able to receive that information now. But since we're using a test webhook, meaning when I click into this webhook here, it says test URL and it's not on production. We're using test, so it has that webhook-test. This is a really important thing to remember here. Since we're on that test URL, we have to execute the workflow right here. It's not just going to execute automatically yet. So when I click execute workflow, it will now be waiting for the webhook. Meanwhile, on my phone, I'm going to click the calorie demo, and it's going to ask me what type of scan that I want to do. So I'm going to click on scan, and then from here, I'm just going to scan this barcode on this water here. And it's going to ask me for how many servings because that was the next step that we had in this. So what I'll do here is I'll just type in 1 serving for now and I'll hit done. And then I'll hit allow. And now the calorie demo has sent. I'm going to go back over to n8n and make sure that we received that data. And as you can see, it sent 1 item through here. So if I click on the webhook, I'll see down here in the body, it has type, it has food, and it has servings. So this is the barcode for the water that I scanned. The type of scan went through and the servings came through as 1, just as I specified. And now that we have this test data, we can implement the switcher. So this is what's going to allow us to choose which workflow we want to go down. So I'll go back to Canvas and I'm going to click the plus button right here. And I'm going to type into the nodes switch. And I'll click on this little blue icon here for switch. And for this first rule that we're creating, we're going to create the barcode automation route so that it can go out and get that information using a barcode. So what I'm going to do to specify this switch is I'm going to drag the type into this value right here. And then for the value over here, I'm going to type it exactly as it appears. So I'm going to type in scan. And then I'll rename the output to barcode. Next, we'll add another routing rule. Again, we're going to drag in the type And this time I'm going to type in the value of photo, and we'll rename the output again to photo. And finally, we'll add one more routing rule, and this time this is going to be the route for the description. So we'll drag the type in once more, and for the value, I'm going to type in description, and we'll rename the output to description. Now, if I hit execute step, what you're going to notice is if I go back to Canvas here, we have gone down the barcode route, and that's because we sent over a scan on this last route. So it needs to go up this barcode route, and we need to get this information from somewhere. When we pass that barcode, it actually has to go out and search the internet to get that data. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to click the plus button on this barcode route, and I'm just going to type in HTTP and click on HTTP request. We're going to leave the method on get, and then for the URL, I'm just going to paste in this URL that I already have. Okay, so the URL is https://world.openfoodfacts.org/API/v2/product/ and then we're going to put in the food. So I'm just going to delete that variable right there, and I'll show you how to get that in there. So what you're going to do is just drag the food variable from the body of the webhook into this URL. And what that's going to do is it's going to pass in the food. So now I can simply click execute step, and it's going to bring in all of the data for that food or that water bottle that I scanned. And now that we have that data passing through the HTTP request node, what we're going to do next is we're going to add an if node in case there is an error with this automation or the barcode can't scan. We want to signal back to our phone so that it pulls up a menu and says, try another way. So this is a really intuitive feature that's going to tell us which barcodes are and are not valid. And this is a perfect time to talk about our free community, AI Pioneers. This is where all the resources for this video will live, so you can just copy them and paste them directly into n8n. So if you click the AI Pioneers link in the description below this video, it's going to take you to a page where you can sign up. When you request to join AI Pioneers, you're going to receive a DM from me automatically. And that's where you're going to paste in the code as a reply to my message that I sent you. Then you'll be verified, you'll have access to Pioneers. And from there, you can go to the Classroom tab right here, head over to the Agent Builds course. And then once you're in the Agent Builds course, navigate to Carter's Calorie Tracker. Here's where all the copy and paste resources are going to live. So in this case, we're just going to copy the number variable right here. And then for the first value here, we're going to paste in the variable and make sure that you have it switched to expression. And then change this drop down right here to number and does not exist. Next, we'll add another condition. I'll change this drop down to or. This is very important. And now we'll head back over to the school community, and I'll grab this second variable right here. And I'm going to paste that right here. This one is a number, does not exist as well. We'll add another condition, go back to school, grab the protein variable, paste that. This one's a number 2, does not exist. Add another condition, and we'll grab this number for the fat, and I'll paste that here. Set it to does not exist. And then finally, we'll add our final condition here, and this is the product name. So this one is going to be a string does not exist. So I'll paste that here, and then we'll go to string and does not exist. Now I'm going to go back to Canvas, and I'm just going to run this if node. And this is going to go false if your barcode was valid. If it was an invalid barcode, it's going to go true. So I'm going to show you the true route later, but my water scanning did work and it went false because this was a valid barcode and it had the calories, it had all of the macros. So we don't need to set the true route yet. But for right now, let's just click on the plus after false, type in code and click on the code node. And here we're just going to delete the existing code in here, and I'm going to head over to the school community and I'm going to grab the serving calculator for barcode route. I'm just going to copy all of this code right here all the way down to this next one. So the next one is going to be serving calculator for photo route. This one that I just copied is for the barcode route. So we're just going to paste that into the JavaScript code right here, and then I'll execute the step. And as you can see, it brings it through nice and clean. It gives me the title, gives me the calories, fat, protein, and carbohydrates. Next, we need to build out our Notion database so that we have a place for this stuff to live. So I'm just going to create a new page called Calorie Demo, and I'm going to select database down here. And then we'll just go with empty database. I'll rename it again because it deletes the name there, Calorie Demo. And here for the name, I'm going to change it to food. Then we'll add another property for calories. So I'm just going to select type of number, and I'll click on number. And we'll rename this to calories. Then we'll add another number property for the carbs. And I'm going to put a G in parentheses for grams. Then I can duplicate this property right here just by right clicking it and clicking duplicate property. And we're just going to click into here, delete the one after that. And we're going to do protein. I'll duplicate this once more. And this one is going to be fat. So we'll just get that looking nice. So now we're going to have calories, carbs, protein, and fat coming into this database. And lastly, we need to track when this was created. So I'll click the add property right here, and I'm going to type in date for the property name, and then I'll select the date type. All right, now that we have everything that we need for the calorie database, I'm just going to add a nice little icon here with an apple. Then we're going to click these three dots in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to click on connections down here, and I'm going to manage connections. Then I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of my connections, and I'll click on develop or manage integration. Then we'll create a new integration, and this is just how we're linking to Notion. So it's pretty simple to set up. I'm going to walk you through it really quick. We're just going to call this integration, calorie demo, associated workspace. You're going to select your workspace. We'll leave the type on internal, and I'll just hit save. And now I'll go to configure integration settings. I'll show my token and I'll copy this. Now I'll go back to my calorie demo in Notion, and I'll click out of this screen. And in connections down here, I'm just going to type in calorie, and you should see calorie demo. I'll click on calorie demo and confirm. And now whoever has that code will have access to upload things to this database. So we'll head back over to n8n, and I'm going to add in a Notion node. So I'll type in Notion, and I'll click on Notion, and we'll click create a database page. And here where we're connecting our credential, we'll click create new credential, and I'll paste in my secret key. And I'm just going to name this credential calorie demo, and I'll hit save. Now I'll close this, and I'll click this database dropdown right here, and I should see calorie demo. I'll click on calorie demo. And now I'll drag in the title for the title here, and I'm going to add a property, and it should pull in your properties here now. It'll take a moment to load, and then you can click on the select, and we'll select calories. And for calories, we're just going to remove that number right there, and I'll drag in the calories number. I'll add another property, and this one will be the fat. I'll delete that number and drag in fat. Add another property, protein, delete the number, drag the variable. Next, we'll add in the carbs. And finally, we're going to add the date property. So I'll hit add property, and we'll go through the list here and click date. And for date, we want to select right now. So I'm going to change the date to expression, and I'm going to type in a quick expression. So I'll do 2 curly brackets. And then I'm going to type in money sign and now. And I'll click on this suggested one that pops up, and it should pull through the date and time so that it actually adds that to our database so that we can figure out, okay, what day was this on? And then later down the line, we can filter it out by the date so that we can see like our total calories and macros for the day. All right, now Notion is all good to go. So I'll execute this step. Perfect. Now let's go back over to our Notion database. And as you can see, it logged in our bottled water right here. So that looks pretty good. Next, we need to add in the respond to webhook so that we can send back relevant data to our automation. So I'm going to click this plus button right here, and I'm going to type into the nodes respond, and I'll click respond to webhook, and we're going to respond with JSON. Then I'll delete this response body right here, and I'll head over to the Pioneers community, and I'm going to scroll down to where you see respond to webhook body JSON. And the first one is the respond to webhook failure. The next one is respond to webhook success. What we want to do is copy the success message right here, and you're going to paste it into the response body. And this is the message that it's going to send back to our phone. So bottled water totaling, and then it's going to say the amount of calories has been logged. Now I'll go back to Canvas. Next, we're going to right click the webhook and click on duplicate. And I'm going to drag it up here and connect the true route to this one. Now, what I want to do for this one is change it slightly. So I'll click into the respond to webhook, and we want to go back over to pioneers and copy the failure route. So I'll copy this and we'll go to this right here and paste it. And it's just going to tell the app that it failed. Now I'll go back to Canvas, and just like that, we've completed our first successful route. So we have a failure route if it does fail, and we also have the success route so that when this logs in Notion successfully, it's going to respond using this webhook. Now we're going to jump back on our phone and we're going to edit the calorie demo. So I'm going to click the 3 dots on calorie demo, and we're going to add the if route in here as well. So before we do that, we have to get the result back. So whatever comes back from our n8n automation, meaning that respond to webhook, we need to pick that up and interpret that into the logic of our shortcut. So to do that, we're just going to click search actions, and I'm going to type in dictionary, and we're going to get dictionary value. I'll click on get dictionary value, and I'm going to drag this up to the get contents of, just right beneath it. And the key that we're looking for here is result, because that is what is going to come back no matter what in our webhook response. And then it already has the contents of URL selected. I'll reveal the action, and as you can see, this is the one that it's selecting. So I'll close that, and now we're good to go there. I'm going to type in if next, and we're going to add an if route on shortcuts. And I'm just going to drag the if node up to this get value right underneath it. And we're going to change where it says file size. We're just going to change that to name. I can scroll down and select name. And right here, we're just going to type in fail. So if it's a fail, then we're going to start the automation over and ask if they want to try again with a different method. So to do that, I need to search actions, and I'm just going to type in choose from menu, and I'll drag the choose from menu up underneath the if that we created. And I'll say this product is not supported for calorie data. Would you like to use a different method? And for option 1, I'm just going to enter yes. For option 2, I'm going to enter no. Now, if they select yes at this menu, or if you select yes at this menu, I want it to actually restart the automation. So what I'll do next is I'll just type in run, and we'll click on run shortcut, and I'll drag that run shortcut under the yes route. Then we have to select our shortcut, and I'm just going to select calorie demo so that it restarts it. And now we have to select if it's successful. So if this is actually successful, it'll go under the otherwise on the if. So for the otherwise, we're just going to type in get dictionary. We're going to click on get dictionary value, and I'm going to drag that under the otherwise route. In this time, we're getting the value for message. So I'll click into the key here, and I'll type in message. And for the in here, we actually have to clear that variable. And for the dictionary, we're selecting the contents of URL. So it's going to get the message from the URL. Then we're going to show that message on the screen. So I'll type into the actions show, and we want to go with show result. And I'll drag that up under this, and it will automatically change it to dictionary value here. But if it doesn't, you can clear that variable and you can add that in. The good news is you've completed the hardest part of this automation, which is setting up the barcode scanner. So now we just need to set up the photo and description route. So for the photo route, we're going to type in take photo and click on take photo. And then I will drag that up under the photo route here. Then I'm going to type in encode, and this is how we're going to send the photo. We are going to click on base 64 encode, and I'm going to drag that base 64 encode under the take one photo. Then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to remove the line breaks. I'm just going to hit none. Next, we're going to ask for the number of servings again. So since we already do that up here, I can just copy that automation that already exists by hitting duplicate. And then I can drag this new ask for number down to our next route, right under encode photo with base 64. Then we'll do the same with our get contents of. So I'll go up to our get contents of, I'll duplicate it, and I will drag it down to the new route. right under ask for number with. And now you're going to open up the dropdown on this, and we're going to change out the type, the food, and the servings so that it pulls them from the correct place. So for the type, for this one, we're going to type in photo. And for the food, we're going to select the base 64 encoded. And for the servings, we're going to select the ask for input. And then I'm going to make sure it's the right one by clicking on it and revealing the action. And it should be this one directly above it. Now I'll close that and I'll hide that menu. Then we'll scroll up and we will duplicate the get value for message in contents of URL right here. I'll drag that down beneath the get content of, and it already says contents of URL, but I want to click into here and reveal the action to make sure it's the right one. In this case, it's not. It's the one from the previous one because that's where we duplicated it from. So I'm going to close that and I'm going to go down to contents of URL, clear the variable, and I'll just select the dictionary, select variable, and we'll select contents of URL. So that's going to select the right one. Now, if I reveal the action, it shows that it's the correct variable. Now we'll do the same with the show dictionary value. And I see that the show dictionary value here isn't working, variable not available. So for this show, I'm going to actually make sure that it's on dictionary value. And I'm going to reveal that again and make sure that it's the one directly above it. It is. And now we'll duplicate it. And I'll pull that down, pull that all the way down to the next one. And we're just going to reassign this variable here by clicking the clear and then clicking the result. And we can click on select variable and I'll select the message variable. And finally, we're on the last route now. So this is the description route. So I'm going to ask for the description first. So I'll type in ask for input. And we're going to drag that up under the description. And we're going to ask for text. And I'm just going to say, describe what you ate and how many servings. So we're actually putting all of this into one here because this route doesn't have a calculator over an n8n, because when you're describing something, you can just write in exactly in natural language what you ate. So I can say I ate a 25-pound turkey, and it will actually calculate that for you by using internet search and AI in the background. I'll duplicate the get contents of from above here, and I'll just click and drag it down to the next option here. And for this one, I'm just going to hit the drop down and we're going to change this one to description. For servings, I'm just going to remove that and I'm just going to put 0 by default because we don't use it for this route. Then for the food, we're going to select the ask for input variable from above here where we ask for the text. Now I can close this. One more get value for message. So I'll duplicate that again and I'll drag it down below, and we'll make sure that the contents of URL is set to the proper variable. So to get that, I'll scroll down and I'll click on the contents of URL right there. We're looking for a value for message. And then finally, I'm going to type in show again, and we're going to show result. I'll drag that under the get value, and we're just going to show the dictionary value right there. And with that, we've completed the shortcut, and it should mostly work, but we still need to add some things to our n8n automation. And if there's any issues on this, we're just going to go through and test everything to make sure it works. So I'll hit done on the shortcut. All right, so next, what I'm going to do is test out the photo route so we can see if we can actually get some data in here for photo, and then we'll build out this next leg of the automation. So I'm going to hit execute workflow, and then I'm going to click on calorie demo. And I'm going to select photo, and I'm just going to take a picture of this apple. We'll hit use photo, and now it's going to ask me how many servings. Let's say I had 2 apples, and I'm going to hit done. And then we'll go ahead and always allow so that it doesn't ask me again, and it should send that off. So this time the workflow could not be started. We ran into an error, but the error is right here. So we'll go ahead and click into the webhook and see what happened. So set respond parameter to using respond to webhook node. All right, perfect. We'll hit using respond to webhook node, and we'll try this again. All right, execute, and we'll hit the calorie demo once again, photo, take a picture of our apple, use photo, set it to 1 serving and hit done. And perfect, that time it went through and it went to the photo route. All right, so next we're gonna click on the photo route, and I'm going to type in convert, and I should see convert to file. I'll click on convert to file and move base 64 string to file. Perfect. Next, we need to pull in the data. So I'll go back to my webhook here, and it might take a moment to pull this in, but I'm going to hit show data. All right, and then we're going to drag the food variable into this base64 input field, or you can just type in body.food and that should work. And we'll go ahead and execute the step. And what it should do is it should bring in the image. And if I hit view right here, it should pull that image up, me holding the apple. So that worked great. Now we'll go back to Canvas. And next I want to add the image analysis node from OpenAI. So I'll click the plus button and type in OpenAI. And I'll click OpenAI, and then we're going to click on Analyze Image. From there, I can select this data variable right here. But first, I need to change the input type to binary file, and then it's going to say data already. So that's the variable that it's going to pull right there. Now, you are going to need to set your credential here, and I already have a credential, but you'll have to create a new one. And to get that credential, you're going to go to platform.openai.com, and then from there, you're going to log in or sign up, and you can then create an account at OpenAI. Now, if you already have a ChatGPT account, that is not the same as having a ChatGPT developer account. So you will need to set that up, and you will need to load in some credits, like $5-10 maybe, and that should last you a very, very long time at OpenAI. Next, you'll have to click on this settings toggle in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and that should bring you to the settings where you can then create an API key using the API key option on the left-hand side of the screen. From there, create your API key, create a new credential, and pop that in. Now for me, I'm going to select the model of ChatGPT 4.0 latest, and I'm going to pull in this prompt right here. So it says, your role is to return a description/title of the food, beverage, or consumable you receive a picture of in JSON format. And then I give it the JSON format for food. So the food title goes here. And if there is no food, beverage, or consumable in the image, respond with food, none. All right, perfect. Now we'll go ahead and execute this step and see what we get. It should find that there's an apple in the image, and it did. So it says food, apple. Perfect. Now I'll go back to Canvas and we'll continue down the flow. The next node is going to be the internet search node. So it's actually going to search on the internet for that food, and then it's going to fill out the calories and all of the macros for us. So if I hit the plus button right here and type in OpenAI once again, then I select message a model. From there, I'll go to the model dropdown, and I'm just going to type search right here. And there's all kinds of different search models here. I'm just going to go with the GPT 4.0 search preview. And this time I'm going to put in this prompt right here. I'll add another message for the user, and then this is where we're going to input the food. So I'll drag that in and make sure that it lands inside of these brackets. And you will need to set your credential here as well. But once that's set up, just execute the step. And this one takes a little bit longer because it's actually searching the internet now for the macros of an apple. And then it's going to come back with the food name, apple, calories, fat, protein, and carbs. And finally, I'm going to create a new message a model node. So we'll go back to OpenAI, message a model. And this one is going to be for actually turning this into proper JSON, because right now the JSON isn't in a good format and this will not work. So we need to make sure that you select the credential. And then after that, we're going to go with GPT 4.0 latest. That one's fine. We're going to change the role to system on this first prompt here. And this is the prompt I'm using. So I say turn the input into structured JSON, and we have some brackets to put the input into. So what we'll do is we'll add a message, and it's just set to user. Perfect. I'll paste, and now that should be good to go. So next we'll go ahead and check output content as JSON. That is an important step that you can't forget here. And we're just going to execute the step. And this time it should pull through all the variables in a clean format. Next, we're going to add in a new code node. So I'll just click the plus here and type in code. And then we'll click on the code node right there. And here, I'm just going to delete the code out of there. Then we'll head back over to the school group, and I'm gonna find where that code is. So here it is, actually, serving calculator for photo route. That's the one we're on. So I'll copy all of this code here. And then we'll head back over and we'll paste it in. Now, one thing to note, if these code nodes aren't working, it's because the node name needs to be exactly what it's pulling in. So right now, in this version, the node is called OpenAI 2. Okay, so I need to change the node in the code here to whatever that name is. So OpenAI 2. And it is case sensitive. So once you've done that, it should work. But if you run into any errors, it's because these names are probably off. So this is pulling from the webhook node, which is over here, which it is called webhook. So we're good to go there. And this one's pulling from the previous node called openai 2. So I'll go ahead and execute this step and it should pull through all of our calculations. All right, perfect. That looks good. Now I'll go back to Canvas. And next I'm just going to duplicate this Notion node right here. And we're going to drag the code node to connect with it. And we'll try to run it and see if this works. And it does. Perfect. So now we have the item coming through. And finally, we're going to respond to webhook. So I'll go ahead and duplicate this one for the success message. And we'll just connect that there. And now everything should be good. JSON name, it's going to pull from the name in Notion and the property calories right there. Great. So now we'll go ahead and run the respond to webhook, and that should send the response back to my phone. So now let's test this out to see if the photo route works. I'm going to click execute workflow. Then I'm going to click on the calorie demo over on my phone. We'll click on photo. And then finally, we'll just pull up the apple once again. And I'll try to take a nice picture. We'll hit use photo. And we'll select 2 servings to test this out. I'll hit done. And now it should go through. As you can see, it's working its way through the automation over here. Right now, it is calculating on OpenAI. The code node has run, and we're about to get a message back on the phone here. Perfect. 2 servings of red apple totaling 190 calories has been logged. Okay, so we'll hit done, and that looks like it worked and ran through well. So we'll go over really quick to our Notion database, and as you can see, it's logged in the apple in 2 different runs. Our first test run here and our second one. So it's pretty solid actually. 95 plus 95, I believe, is 190. So it got consistent results there, so that's good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add the description route. So I'll hit execute workflow once more. I'll click the calorie demo, and I'll click on description this time. And this time I'm just going to enter what I ate. So let's just say I ate an apple. We'll just say apple and hit done. And now we have the description route actually going down this route here. Perfect. So I'm going to click the plus button. I'm going to type in OpenAI. I'll click on OpenAI and message a model. We can use the credential that you've already created. And this time we're going to go straight to the search model right off the bat. So I'm going to search for search, and we're going to go GPT-4o search preview. And for the system prompt, we'll set the role to system, and I'm going to use this prompt right here. And we're going to add a message, paste in, and that looks good. So it's pulling through apple. Looks good. And we'll go ahead and execute the step, and it should go out and get the calories and the macros for the apple. Comes back with them right here, and it got it at 95 once again. Now we'll go back to the canvas here, and we're going to add in the next OpenAI node. So we can actually just duplicate this node right here, and we can drag that in. We'll go ahead and run that. And now we'll grab our Notion and our webhook, and we'll paste that as well. And then we'll just connect it right there, and we'll try to run this, see if it works. Should put the apple into our Notion. It didn't that time, so let's see what went wrong here. So, okay, yeah, we need to map these. So the food name is going to go to title. The calories need to go to calories. Fat needs to go to fat, and so on. We'll put protein in protein. And we'll do carbohydrates next. All right, and then we'll execute the step again, and this time it should work. Okay, perfect. So we got all those variables through there. Now I'll hit back to canvas, and we'll run the respond to webhook. Great. So now our automation is pretty much complete, but let's go ahead and test this out with all of the different possibilities. Now, before we continue any further, you will also want to go into the HTTP request here, and you're going to want to go down to the options and click on add option, go to response, and then turn on never error. And then for the response format, return JSON. This will ensure that if you scan a barcode that's not food, not only does it not have the calories, but it's just not food. If you don't select that, then it's just going to stop the automation altogether. And I actually just figured that out on a failed barcode that I was trying to use that didn't work. Next, make sure you activate your workflow. Hit got it. And then make sure in webhook here, you change it to production URL, and then go back to canvas. All right, and now we are going to run a final test on all of these different methods to see if they work. Now, what you are going to need to do is go into the calorie demo, and you're going to need to change all of these from webhook test to just webhook. So get rid of the webhook test and just put in webhook right there on all of these get content of. So I'll go down, get it on this one, and also get it on this one. So it should look something like this. Your URL will be a little bit different though. And now you no longer have to hit execute workflow. If you go to your executions, you should be able to run your workflows from here now, or you should be able to see your workflows running from here. Now let's complete a final test. I'm going to click on my calorie demo shortcut. I'm going to click scan, and I'm going to scan this failed barcode. Now, what should happen on this route is it's going to ask me how many servings. I'm going to say 2 servings. I'll hit done. And now it should come back with this message right here where it says, this product is not supported for calorie data. Would you like to use a different method? And I can say no, and it will end the automation here, or I can say yes. So this is the case if you have a failed barcode. Now, if I say yes, and then I hit scan again, I can then go in and scan the successful barcode, and I can hit 2, let's say, and hit done. And this time it should actually work because that barcode I know works, and that is the bottled water barcode. And as you can see, it pulls that through for us. Now I'll hit done. And next we're going to test out the apple. So I'll click on my calorie demo flow. I'll click on photo. And then we're going to click on the apple and use photo. I'll say I had 15 apples and hit done. And let's see what we get. All right, perfect. 15 servings of red apple, totaling 1,425 calories. All right, now I'll hit done. And finally, we're going to try the last one of description. So now I'm going to just put in the description of, let's say, mashed potatoes. Then I'll put 1 cup. All right, and we'll hit done. And it should go through, do that web search, and then come back and log that for us in Notion. So as you can see, it shows up on my screen up here, 1 cup of mashed potatoes, and it also goes into our Notion database along with our 15 apples and our 2 servings of bottled water. If you enjoyed, please drop a like. And with that, I will see you in the next video.